Greetings, welcome from the village. Same weather. I think the heat levels are now at 28 degrees Celsius. We're headed towards 7 p.m. approaching, so it should lessen to about 20, and then the it cools down. But the sun it doesn't become very dark early. My geography is has faded a little, so I don't know that phenomenon. It takes time to darken by around 7. So 7 p.m. It's still you see some sort of light. Yeah. So from wherever you're listening and watching, habari zenu, habari gani, greetings. Grand rising, grand setting from wherever you're watching. The conversation that I wanted to have today, not a conversation, the monologue for today is on programs. And for instance, this thing will still keep popping up while you are growing up, or say growing up. Is that better? While we were growing up. So who are you growing up with? So while I was growing up, there was program guide, TV guides that used to show what particular programs that would come, or shows that would happen across a particular TV station or radio. So of course some cartoons there, some news, some cooking show, some entertainment, stuff like that. And like it was printed, it was on newspapers, so you could easily follow up what was gonna come across the day. And it happens in other ceremonies and activities in the corporate sector, in even back in the villages, or even in just government structures. You have a program for an event, and it shows who is going to speak, what are they going to speak about. You have breakout sessions, you have health breaks, and then you have closing ceremonies and stuff like that. And what pricked my mind is how this was lifted, all this from the TV, because the TV and the radio aspects of programming are really really heavily researched and really heavily financed. People who program TV and radio are just people who sit down and clearly understand what is supposed to come up during particular days of airing of programs. So they don't really, you wouldn't find a messed up program unless in itself the presenter alone messes up the program by not doing his research for that show that he's, of course he's paid to do that. So you'll find some bit of mess. But for a show, for a news item to go on air, for that whole program, to that news from maybe 1 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. to go on air, then there's some level of, or rather from 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Let me use that. My mind sometimes shifts through a lot. So for that to go on air, then there has to be a lot of research. You have transmission crew, you have the producers, you have the video assistants, you have the floor assistants, you have makeup artists. We've talked about the transmission crew, you have the editors and all that. Like, it's well researched. And even when you look at radio, you have the radio presenter themselves, you have a a producer, you have nowadays you have people on social media, and then you have still some people doing streaming. They are recording it and streaming it on socials. So that has to be a proper set. And there have been conversations about of course there have been podcasts where radio presenters have been interviewed, and they talk about how for them to do a show, for example, from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., they have to be at the radio station by 4 p.m. so that they touch base on the news items, to read newspapers, to catch up on what has happened globally, some udaku moshene here and there, and just to prepare themselves mentally, because you're going to be speaking for that duration from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., which means you need to have content to fit that whole period. For instance, for myself, this monologue goes from 10 to 30 minutes. So which means myself, I also have to sit down with myself and sift through my mind and sift through content that I've read, and now consciously align it with what I'm going to speak about, so that whatever comes out, I'm not mumbling. It's something that I've researched, I've seen, and I can confidently speak about it with authority. So the programming for those radio shows, the drive, the changamuka and stuff, the research that goes on into that is what I'm speaking about today. That is something that has sparked me. This is like the sixth recording. I thought I was gonna stop and pause, but I felt like, let me just do this so that there's a little bit of time for me to take a break and reflect and come up with more topics and more monologues for the coming days and weeks. So that really is the cue for today: the program guide, the TV guides, and the radio guide, and how impactful have that piece of guide been impactful for instance for politicians. And I'm speaking about this based on what I'm gravitating towards is the programming that is going on in our lives, and how it's impacting how we think and how we respond to everything that is thrown at us, and like how we become indolent. We're not able to question how this thing is happening, and we're just not responding. You hear people saying, wow, you see how those people are doing their things, it is so cool. If it was us, then we could have messed up badly. There was this conversation on this post on Facebook, and somebody was saying, hey, did you see how the so and so are doing their stuff? Hey, if it was on our team, boy, I don't know if we could even have managed. So some days ago, there was a post about campaigns, and one of the things that was being talked about was how the people who are handling the president have been able to outmaneuver, outsmart the largesse of the Ruto must go camp, to outsmart that thing, so that the president does not have backlash from wananchi and from those who are agitated with the economy. And So what has basically happened is the post was about the president nowadays is not addressing road rallies or pushing towards making entourage into predominantly volatile vote-rich regions which he used to frequent. And the conversation was such that nowadays it is mostly what he does is he goes to weddings. You know, you have these high profile weddings. You know yourself, you can have a wedding. Even you, Stony, you can have your own wedding, but it might not be high profile. Just itakuwa tu what we call chini ya maji. And so so the president or these high profile individuals, ministers and all that, would then attend weddings, would attend occasions where there are fewer agitation. You know, when you attend a high profile wedding, then it means you're a doctor, you're a nurse somewhere, you're a CEO somewhere, or you are handling some 3 or 4, you're a PA to some. So there's no expectations that you would shout down a high profile guest, chief guest for instance. So that would rarely happen. In fact, if it happens, then it's going to be a catastrophe. So it has happened in Northeastern. I think there was a wedding there. I don't know how they call weddings in Islam. Oh. If you're my friend and you're a Muslim, just comment there how your weddings are referred to. Or it's just a wedding, Muslim wedding. Okay, we'll go with that. So now the conversation just pushed me to something on the Nyota program. And in this Nyota program, youths who are eligible from age 18 to 35 years old. And so a lot of youths applied for this program, and it was countrywide. So the reach was countrywide. So you only need to, I think there are certain parameters that you're filling, and then you're selected or picked, and then there's some training, and then now there's disbursement. And there was the first disbursement. I didn't follow it up much, but I'm following up on the second disbursement. And a lot that I'm picking is based on programming and how it's possible to move the radio program TV guide to the common mwananchi on the ground, so that they're following the program. It's as if they're listening to a radio, or it's as if they're listening to just another break. I promise you wouldn't get to experience this when we have our recording studio. That should happen soon. But anyway, so a lot of this TV guide and program guide from radios and TVs have been lifted up and brought into the fore, so that the programming that you used to on radio is now live on the ground. So you attend an event, and it's like, at certain time there's an arrival. So during an arrival, now there'll be people taking photos. You'll see some very nice faces, and you'll be awed. And be like, oh, that is so and so. Oh, that is so and so. And then after that, there's an entertainment session, or not an entertainment. There's like some introduction, where you're told there will be so and so speaking. This is how you're going to behave, blah blah blah, stuff like that. Though this program is just like once that happens in meeting, but This one follows a different protocol and pattern. And then you're told also there are some photo sessions that are going to happen. And then there's entertainment. So entertainment comes in, and then you get entertained, yeah, and then you're also involved in part of in entertaining others. And then there are these one-on-one sessions where now the invited guests or chief guests get to have a one-on-one interaction. You remember during Kibaki, the late President Mwai Kibaki, this wouldn't have happened. The president having a one-on-one with the youth and talking to them about their business and what is going on, or holding just a conversation with them and talking about their business, how life is going, what they intend to do with all that. This is all programming. This does not happen for no reason. There's a reason that happens, because it has been ingrained in our system. It has been part of programming, so that it only needs a very sharp person for that to happen. And once that session happens, and then another session of entertainment is thrown in, and now when the chief guests could be a member of parliament, could be a president or a CS speaks, or a CEO, then that is like a moment of news, it's like a news session. Now all these programs are being propped up for the news session. So by the time you're sitting down to listen to this news session, your mind has already been programmed from a child, that at a certain time there's usually news. So what happens when there's news? You're supposed to keep quiet, number one. Number two, when you're in the house, there is zero movement. And if at all it happens, it has to be maybe a guest has come, and then you have to go and open the door, and guest will greet everyone. And if at all the guest is important, then they're given a cup of tea, or they're welcome onto the table. They are told, hata ndio tumemaliza kukula, so pole sana, unaletewa hata chai ama maji, and life moves on. So here now, that whole session of entertainment from when you arrived it's part of the program. It's part of your programming. The moment you start experiencing entertainment, the moment there's some lull, there's some point, there's some lull. It's not for no apparent reason. There's a reason for all that. And then now this last bit, when you're having the breaking news, there's a part where there's a breaking news session, and the breaking news part is you have received congratulations, you have received some certain amount of money, confirmed you have received some good 20 or 50,000 from this program. So that is the breaking news part of it. We've talked about the entertainment, and then we've talked about the conversations. Those are like the 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., where the radio presenter has these live conversations with the listeners, so that they get to share how their morning has been, what are they doing, where they're listening from, if they win some raffle ticket, or if they answer a question correctly and get some money, what are they going to use it for, and then there's you see, that is not the whole 6 to 10 aspect being pushed to that podium, because it is ingrained in a lot of us, and it's it's been successful, you know. A lot of us listen to radio and we're tuned in into those programs that have the same programming as the events that now these high profile guests are now attending. And you have the last bit of let me hear your response, you know. And nowadays you record your WhatsApp audio or record WhatsApp videos and post them, share them to a certain number of a radio station, and then they get to hear, you know, they get to hear what you're saying, you know, and it's played live, you know. There's this local radio station, and they do the same. And sometimes the presenter comments that, oh, so and so, you why are you doing such a long recording, 1 minute surely, you know. Because she understands that 1 minute of radio is a lot of time. So if she's been given 2 hours, she has to exhaust some certain parameters, you know. She has to get some certain viewership up high. She has to play some news items. She has to play some content, and she has to speak about something. So if she does not exhaust that, then her job is at risk. And the reason I'm loving this conversation is that I think the bit of sharing is now when people are forced now to do the photo ops, you know, recording clips, doing pictures, and then sharing. You know, once you do that, if you're 500 people in attendance, and each of you record and have a picture and post it, if each person has 1,000 active followers, especially on socials, could be Twitter, could be on X, TikTok, or Instagram or Facebook, that means 500,000 people have been reached, you know. And it is the excitement that oh, so and so applied for a certain fund, oh, he's attending an event with the president, oh, so next time I should also apply, and I should also be able to take pictures and post, you know, because that is the thing that is there's a word I wanted to use instead of trending, so that I don't sound vague with the word trending. But it is the facade of our society right now that a lot of things that are happening are just merely programming. It is not something new, you know. It is just something that is picked from an aspect of our life that we were used to. Then when you experience it, we feel like, wow, you know. And that Facebook posts relates to this. It actually mentioned that if they were talking about, oh, my friend, if you see the way the UDA guys are organizing the events, you know, for them, the presidency relates to the UDA. So for them, it is, if you see the way the UDA guys are organizing the Nyota program events, if it was us in ODM, then it could have been a mess, you know. That was the conversation, because in real essence, that person understands that there's chaos in terms of event management that happens in ODM, that if there was an opportunity for them to do something like Nyota, then it would have been a mess. But of course, we know the people who are involved in shaping this conversation, shaping these events, the scripting and all that, and they have been part of the entertainment and events shows in the country. So these are very highly professional people, so they wouldn't want to mess the president's itinerary and whatever. So the shift in in campaigns has been such that you have the of course the campaigns have already begun. You know, if even here in the village, I'm told if you want to run for an MC or MP seat or governor, you have to start campaigning 2 years to the campaign period. So this is January and people are already campaigning, and it's active campaign. It's only that you'll not hear it on radio or TV. Then you'll just hear that prospecting, aspirant. But here on the ground, you can feel that the campaigns are going on, and it's very active. So the shift in the campaigns, especially within the presidency, is such that he's facing less hostile people, you know, because before you could hear some chants that were against his administration. But now when you're attending a high-profile wedding, who would want to chant against you? If you're attending some events, some rally events, you know, where some cool guys from some cool kids have come to attend us, and they do not understand how the economy is biting, and some guys are just there to draw their stress, and they have no iota of thought of discussing, of having conversations on distractions and all that. For them, this is a safari rally, so we do not need to have distractions on the economy and everything. So when someone attends such events, there are no those chanting, there is no throwing words, there is no expectations that there will be a hostile crowd. So the Nyota program is not only happening in one county, it is happening across the country. So we have 47 counties, and Makiu, I'm not sure the number of this also I should have researched, but on average, if the Nyota program, for example, each county is 500 participants, and they're sharing to 1,000 people on their socials. That means the campaign, you know, the campaign is spreading to 500,000 people on socials, you know. So for each county, you have an active 500,000 team online that is watching and sharing these clips and saying and putting on emojis, you know, and saying this thing is working. So we appreciate what is being done. So the campaign is has shifted completely, and we're going to see a lot of this happening. And it's not majorly going to focus on these campaign rallies that you see of large people, you know. It's just going to be a small group of people, and then they are going to be sharing online, because there are opportunities to take pictures with the big wigs, you know, and you can freely record and share. So you have each county, you have 47 counties, so those are 47 times 500 times 1,000, you know, online reach. Because we're saying for most of the people who've applied for the Nyota Fund, and now also relating to the buy now lipa later, have accessed a smartphone, so that they'll be able to do the processes of registration and everything. So and yes, when you're putting a benchmark of 500 people in a county, those can have smartphones, you know, a representation. And even if they choose the buy now lipa later, they have smartphones, they can record, they can post, they can share. So and they have viewership for those who are posting on streaming sites like YouTube and what have you. So the conversation here is these campaigns are being done quietly. You know, you would think it's not a campaign, but it's a campaign that is happening quietly, and it's reaching a lot of people. And now that more than ever, more youths are torn between a rock and a hard place, especially with the economy. You know, if there's a lot of buzz about this Nyota fund happening and impacting lives, then there's, for some reason, they would be excited to apply for this. If there's a second cohort, they would be greatly interested to apply for this, for the same program, so that they're also part of the photo ops. They're also part of the moment. They don't have the the FOMO, you know, sort of thing. And I'm just happy that I'm able to bring this out conclusively without mumbling, which means it is something that is happening on a low scale, but impacting high on a high scale. You know, there used to be this thing of think locally and act globally. I hope that was not one of the PsyOps tags that are being used to propagate programming. The conversation continues, so we'll keep bringing up new topics and conversations around what happens in our society and the level of indulgence that we get ourselves into. You'll keep hearing the word indolence. Of course, not doleful. I don't use that word. Sounds weird, but it's essential as a nation, as a youth, that we do not use the vibrancy, the fabric of our society by clinging to already programmed minds, so that we're able to question some things that are happening in society, but yet again to implore when it's due. The Nyota Fund is clearly something good that is happening. Though it's 50,000, I know there are some who might use it well and grow. There are some who choose not to use it because they would feel like it's a little money. 50,000 is not a little money. You know, when you do not have it, it's not a little money. Even when you have it, for some, that is fuel for their Prados and for their Mercedes, and for some that is tea or coffee somewhere in a very expensive hotel in the wilderness. So I hope we keep having these conversations and shifting through narratives, so that whatever we get out of those moments of shifting, those moments of questioning, is what builds us and strengthens us as a society, so that we are awake all the time. We are not sleeping. We understand where we are going as a nation, where we have come from, and where the world is heading. You know, that used to be a very difficult question. If your parent would ask you, do you know even where the world is heading, and you couldn't tell from which angle you're supposed to answer, because you're not seeing the world that is moving. The earth is just stuck. You've never felt it moving, so you cannot answer from that side, or you need to answer it from the economic side. Of course, you do not feel the pinch because you come home and there's food. For you, there's ugali skuma, there's ugali mayai, there's chapati over the weekend, and you feel like things are just okay. So from what angle are you going to answer that from? And you feel like everything is okay with the economy. And now that you've grown up, you've grown through the education system, and you're able to question some few things, it's when maybe you can sit down and say, from my perspective, this is where I think the world is going, this is where I think the economy is going, then it used to be a very difficult question, because you might answer it the wrong way, and you end up being slapped for no reason, for no apparent reason, because of just wishing to open your mouth and pass a point. I'm really excited that Radio Rewind gets to go back in time and shift conversations. Not a shifter. They call them shifters. Maybe I'm a traveler or something. But changing these conversations so that we have an openly inclusive society that understands what is happening. And it's important that our leaders complement whatever is happening. So I heard the governor for Nakuru saying, for those who've gotten the Nyota Fund, she's going to waive registration fee for the whole year. And I think that was commendable. You know, what we are saying is the little bad that is being done, let a corresponding good be done with those in leadership. The way we've questioned the member of Kiharu, Didi Nyoro, for supporting the finance bill and still doing development in his community, because you are torn between two things. But there's development we can see. For some, they didn't support the finance bill, but they're doing zero development. So our questioning still doesn't have to be on a perfect angle, on a perfect stretch, It has to be in a way that, yes, this person did A, B, C, D, but on this other end, he has done A, B, C, D, so that we're not having regions or youths that are not developing because we are continuously pushing an agenda of bad politics, because we cannot hit bad politics. Politics has to be such that it is just politics, it is a game. But when it comes to the bare minimums, development, schools, hospitals, empowerment centers, roads, power transmissions, education, upskilling, security, those are bare minimums, those are things that they're non-negotiable. They should be provided for by the state and other actors. It should not be something that we keep having conversations about. It's like a member of parliament saying, when you elect me, I'll give pads to girls. I mean, what is that? Or say, when you elect me, I'll give bursaries. That is standard. That you are expected to do that. That is not a campaign pledge. Just need to say, I will expand the bursary reach. You don't need to put it as a campaign pledge in terms of, I will give it to you. It is there. It's supposed to do ABCD. So it's only you to say, I promise I will keep doing it. Yeah. So the Nyota Fund is a good idea, is a good project. The good thing is this money is going directly to the youths and they're receiving it on their M-Pesa. So it's now incumbent on the other institutions, the governors, the MCAs and the MPs, to open up their other procurement systems so that these youths get opportunity to finance projects that they intend to do in the community. And remember, for the youths who are getting this money, don't look at it as an individual. Sometimes it's good as youths to form something like a franchise and say, we've come up as 10 people, because 10 people is 500,000. When you invest 500,000 in a certain business, it may bring you enough money to pay all of you some small commission as you keep it running. If you make it 20 people, that is 1 million shillings. There's a lot you can do with 1 million shillings as 20 people, as compared to 50,000 shillings as one person. So it's about perception, it's about perspective. Do you get this money and consume it as a person who's won a lottery on radio? You know, someone who's been gambling with 20 shillings on radio, and then he wins some 10,000 shillings, and then decides to spend all of it, and then decides again to gamble, you know, because sometimes looking for work is gamble. Registering for this thing is a gamble. So do you want to be part of the gambling system, or you want to get out of the gambling system? I didn't know I was gonna get that point out, but now that I've gotten it out, think beyond owning the 50,000. Think about many of you joining up arms together, creating a fund to boost your earnings and to boost to boost a sustainable livelihood for a longer duration of time without you going to suffer starting a business. Look at fund managers, look at investing in the stock market and all that, and that would make a change in you. So this is the last recording for today. As you can see, the weather is changing. The temperatures are below 20 degrees now, 25 degrees Celsius now, and we'll see you another time. So from wherever and whenever you're watching this, have a great moment. Bye.